This is one of the most fascinating true crime stories I've ever read about. The story of Tonya McArtor. It involves the deaths of 3 people, a daring prison escape, a fugitive in hiding for over 30 years, and an attorney with one of the wildest plans I have ever heard. This is the story of Tonya McArtor. I promise you, you will not see what's coming.
I already don't, just from the intro.
This story is not 100% accurate, and I don't think it ever can be.
I'm a journalist.
I am not. That will become very clear later on, but this story has stuck with me for a very long time, and I hope one day we'll make an incredible film. In fact, I think we should cast it at the end.
TM, let's trademark. Let's copyright that idea.
I think that stands for Tony Martin, I believe. I'm not sure.
Is that who we're casting?
Let's start at the beginning with the main person of this story, Tonya Myers, who later became Tonya McArtor. Have you heard this story before?
No.
Tonya Myers was born in Worthington, Ohio. Worthington is in Franklin County and is a suburb of Columbus. It's a working-class neighbourhood with lots of families. The population in 2020 in the census was 14,786. I kind of love when you watch something and it's like, you know, in like movies where the population is just written, and they don't really do it in America, where the population is written on the sign.
The welcome sign to the town.
Yeah. And then it has to go up eventually. I don't know who's monitoring that and changing it. Worthington was one of the first settlements in Ohio, which began with settlers from New England. It's described as quaint and has retained much of that New England charm, with brick structures, preserved historic buildings, and a vibrant historical society. Tonya Myers was in the middle of 2 boys. She was always particularly close to her younger brother, Tommy, and was really protective of him from the get-go.
So as siblings.
As siblings.
No, lucky Tonya.
No, come on.
Sibling in her
as
family.
siblings.
Okay, I'm with you.
They played kickball together, built forts, would muck around and do everything together. While they did play a lot, her main goal was to protect him. No one would mess with Tommy for fear of his sister, only a year older than him, stepping in. In winter, Tommy and Tonya would flood the street until it would freeze and they would skate on it.
Oh my God,
Isn't that incredible?
So fun.
And how cold as well. Like, we don't have temperatures like that in Australia that really drop below like 0 degrees Celsius, really. Like,
I can't really fathom that just being where you live, that you can just put water out on the street and it will freeze overnight.
I know.
Like, it's just a normal thing every winter.
Yeah. We just do this. It's kind of fun for us.
It is fun though.
Like the front of the Rockefeller Center. Sadly, when the family were really young, Tonya only being 5 and Tommy being 4, their father walked out on the family completely. He abandoned them and he never returned home. Tonya's mother was then the sole provider of the family and really had to change everything about her life. She had to be the provider and she had to find a career quickly that would be able to afford the lifestyle that they had. She ended up going into real estate and soon she was a success. This was in the 50s, so you can imagine how strong she must have been to work in an industry dominated by men.
Wow.
In real estate, imagine in the 50s.
Absolutely,
this strong
that's amazing.
Woman. Sadly, this didn't last long. The stress of being the sole provider for the family became a heavy weight that was too heavy to carry, and she began drinking heavily and grew quite distant as a mother. This is really when Tonya stepped in as the main person in the family that would really kind of look after the siblings. She began to behave erratically. This was the mum. People would see her driving her convertible in the middle of winter with the top down, just wearing a halter top. She was someone who was clearly not dealing with all of the pressures of her life, and also her husband just abandoning the family and having a choice in that. Like, she just stuck around and it was all on her.
I just can't understand how anyone does that. Like, how?
No, just go and start a new family somewhere else.
It's hard. You don't get to just...
I think a lot about this, the heartbreak of family life and being a parent, while also dealing with the grief of losing your partner. Yeah. You have to be the strongest person in the world for others while putting yourself second. I think a really great example of that, and this is going to be so lame that I say this, but in Love Actually, that scene where she has to get her kids ready while she's dealing with finding out that her husband is having an affair, I think that is a beautiful representation of putting yourself second as a mother or a father or whatever it is. But I think that would just be so hard to be like, I'm dealing with this. This was once the main person in my life and the love of my life, but now my kids come first. I find that so heartbreaking that that becomes a new position for you. Tommy always described his mother as a caring and loving person who was also struggling a lot. Every time she took 2 steps forward, she'd take 3 back.
And what a sad thing for a child to know about their mother as well.
Yeah, I mean, he said this later on, but this is
that enough,
reflective. Everyone in Worthington seemed to know that she had a problem, and their family from the outside was seen as fairly dysfunctional. Like I said before, Tonya was only a year older than Tommy, but raised him and took care of him.
Wow.
She was also tough, although in dealing with taking the brunt of the family dysfunction, she did have her moments when it became a little too much. Tonya ran away in 1964 and again in 1966, and she was gone long enough for her family to report her missing each time. But each time she rebelled, desperately needing an escape from growing up too quickly, she would return and look after Tommy once again.
I mean, you can imagine that, the pressure on her as well.
Oh my
I'm
God.
sure she did want to just have
Absolutely.
some time where she didn't have to do that.
I mean, and personally speaking, like my brother had a lot of issues growing up. I mean, and still to this day does. He developed drug psychosis when he was 15. I had to grow up very quickly and kind of, had to be that person that was always just kind of there.
I'm sure there were lots of moments where you felt like you just wanted to
Absolutely.
not be, run away and just be able to be away from that for a while.
Absolutely. Even though things were fairly rocky at home, Tonya excelled in school. She was really smart. She was a fantastic swimmer, a footballer, and even on the track team. Tonya also worked as a babysitter after school hours. By 1970, she moved out of home and had a little rebellious streak and was arrested for petty theft and held in detention where, and a trigger warning here, she was raped and became pregnant.
Oh God, that's awful.
Awful. There don't seem to be a lot of details here, but she decided to keep the baby.
Wow.
Tonya moved to Ashland, Ohio, where she met a man by the name of Philip Zimmerman. We do not like Philip. They never got married, but Philip was with her throughout her pregnancy, and when she gave birth, she called her son Philip Jr. She called him Little Baby Phil.
Did she sing Philip, when you smile, I am undone?
She didn't. What's that from?
Look at my son.
Oh, okay. Yeah, beautiful. She didn't. I don't think, because this was earlier than that musical was released.
Hamilton was alive a lot longer.
I don't think the musical was. Yeah, I don't think that's correct. You can check that out later.
Okay.
Pretty early into Baby Phil's life, he was diagnosed with a disability which required assisted living for his entire life. There is not a lot of information on the extent of his disability, but he was able to go through school with his peers and was a very happy boy growing up. Tonya would be his caretaker for his entire life.
Wow. Do we know how old she was when she had him?
She was about 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He played baseball but needed extra care, which Tonya was always there for. Tonya and Philip went on to have a child together who they named Angela. By the
oh my God, I thought you were going to say Angelica. I was like, don't do this to me. There's many Hamilton references.
By the mid-70s, Philip left his family, completely abandoning Tonya and the kids, just like her father.
Ugh.
It was all too familiar, but Tonya, remarkably, was a tough Sheila, and she wasn't going to let this get her down. So Tonya, when you look at her, you go, hard life, but also always just this very caring person. Like just with her younger brother with her older brother, and then all of a sudden she's got this, she went through something so awful as being raped in prison. She keeps the baby and then she raises this kid who's got, special needs, and she just, she does everything to help him. Which you would as a mother, but it's just interesting. Yeah. So by this point, Tonya had a very difficult life. Not only with the horrors she faced at detention, but obviously with the trauma of her dad walking out, her mum behaving erratically and having to grow up too quickly, the difficulties of raising her 2 children alone, and now her partner and biological father of their daughter walked out on her. To make ends meet, and now being the sole provider again, Tonya worked as a waiter, a bartender, worked in housekeeping and lots of other jobs. She couldn't afford babysitters, so she worked a long time in housekeeping because she could actually take the kids along with her to work every single day. From all accounts, Tonya was a really incredible mother. She never missed any of her kids' activities or events, and she got 2 big dogs, 2 Great Danes, and taught her children to care for them and look after them, as well as teach them to be responsible and accountable for the ones you love. If you have a dog, you have to continually turn up for it. That is just part of the responsibility of life. She would help with all of the homework of, Angie, that she called her, and Phil's homework every single night. Because of these extra efforts, which I find so incredible, Phil was able to keep up with his schoolwork and graduated with all of his other classmates, despite his difficulties. Wow. Tonya still found the time for dating as well. She was a mum everyone wanted. Other kids at school would tell Angie they wish they had a cool mum like Tonya.
Oh, that's so nice.
I imagine that's what Dig says at the dog park about me. Yeah.
You guys wish you had a cool mum like my Sammy is.
Cool mum like my Sammy with my new glasses. Yeah. I know we spoke about that in a different episode, but fun for me to keep talking about it.
You're not just a regular mum, Sammy. You're
I'm a cool mum. In the late 70s, Tonya met Joseph, known as Joe Hudkins, and they were married in 1979. Now, unlike Philip, Joe was a really good guy.
Good.
He was a truck driver and had 3 kids of his own. He ended up adopting Angie and Phil because he loved them so much.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
And raised them as his own. He was a really good dad and a very loyal and loving partner to Tonya.
Thank God.
Incredible. Tonya and Joe had another child together named Tim.
Wow.
Their family extended, and now they raised their 6 kids together.
Very Brady Bunch.
So Brady Bunch.
Is that the story?
This is just the Brady Bunch. It's an episode.
There's a story.
They had a really happy life together, and for almost a decade lived the picture-perfect life.
Uh-oh.
Joseph and Tonya went sightseeing, driving around the country together. It had always been Tonya's dream to drive around and see as much of the country as she could. And she also wanted to learn how to drive a truck. But sadly, Joe passed away of cancer in 1988.
Oh, my God.
But do you think that held Tonya down?
No.
Absolutely not. Tonya was now a single mum, but Joe's ex-wife was still in the picture, so she was able to take care of some of the kids. There didn't seem to be any animosity between Tonya and Joe's ex-wife. Again, Joe was a good man. Tonya started working at MetLife Insurance as an admin assistant, where she met Tina, another single mum. They hit it off right away. Tina only had incredible things to say about Tonya, describing her as the best listener she's ever met. There was another co-worker who was going through a really messy divorce and was struggling quite badly. Tonya could see he was struggling and made him food every day, and even gave him her mattress out of her spare room.
Oh, she's amazing.
Incredible. In the mid to late 90s, her kids were all grown up. Tonya was single, and after enough time passed since the death of Joe, her love, she decided to get on a dating site. She met Daryl Carter, another really good man, and I love Daryl as well.
Great.
He was also a truck driver, and originally from Kansas, starting his own trucking company in Ohio. They had their first date at McDonald's, going for coffee together. They both didn't really want to meet up and have a big night if it wasn't really going to spark anything or anything wasn't going to happen after that. But they hit it off really well.
That is so good. Not like, I'm not going to waste my night going out having
No.
drinks. Either I like you or I don't.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick coffee. Yep,
Quick
I like
coffee.
you. Cool.
Yep. But the next date, they went for dinner and they went ballroom dancing.
Oh, my God.
Tonya loved dancing and she would teach Daryl to dance while he would teach her how to drive his truck.
Oh, cute.
It was always something she wanted to do.
I'd like to end the story here. There's
been
enough yucky things already and now it
I
feels
know.
nice.
Joe had always promised her that he would teach her how to drive a truck, but sadly he passed away. But Daryl was more than happy to. He started referring to her as his little old country gal. They were a fun couple and extremely well loved.
It's giving a little bit of like Jack and Rose in Titanic when he said he
right.
wanted to take her horseback riding, and then there's all the photos of her like later in life doing horseback riding, and
They eventually married and lived a good life together in Columbus, Ohio. After a decade of working at MetLife, the insurance company, Tonya quit her job to travel with Daryl on the road. Her CB handle, which I found the following explanation for. A CB handle is a chosen nickname or call sign used by a citizens band, CB radio operator, to identify themselves while on air, serving as a unique online identifier similar to your username and can reflect personality, background, or even be a temporary alias to remain anonymous.
so like when you go, this is Georgie Olov buzzing Sammy Peterson unofficial. Do you hear me? Over. Like
That's right. That's right. Cool. Always use your Instagram handle, and you have to make that noise before or they won't know.
Okay.
Tonya chose the name Sexy Legs.
Oh.
And Daryl's nickname was the Leg Inspector.
Ugh.
Bit of fun. Bit of fun. Money was a little tight with only one income, but they didn't seem to mind so much.
We've got that sexy legs.
Got them sexy legs. They were a simple couple who just loved each other completely.
Oh.
They were together and now they got to spend all of their time together. That was the most important thing for the pair. When they were on the road together, they were with each other 24/7. And when they were back in Ohio, they would be spending all of their time with their kids and, by this time, grandkids.
Oh.
By this point, they had 7 grandkids by the early 2000s.
I'm starting to feel really anxious. Where's this going? I feel so nervous.
They were ready to retire. They wanted to move to the country, build their dream home and get a horse. They loved riding horses and this would be...
Like Kate.
like Kate.
No, Rose. Kate
Rose.
the actor.
Oh, yeah, Kate Winslet. And I disagreed with you. And this would be the absolute dream. Just living their life together without a care in the world.
Is this the end of the story?
And that would be really lovely. A beautiful story, wouldn't it? Mm. Well, I wish I could leave it there.
Oh, my God. I feel so anxious.
Everything was about to change in May 2002. It started like any other Sunday. The family had been out for breakfast at Jolly Pirates Donuts. Daryl, Tonya, her son Tim, Tim's fiancé, and their 17-month baby AJ. They then decided to swim at a local swimming pool in the afternoon. Little did they know that they were being watched this whole time.
Oh, God.
They'd been followed by 2 men for several hours. 2 men, both named Greg.
Oh, great. It's always the
Gregs. And they were walking back to their car. They were approached. I'm going to say that again. As they were walking back to the car, they were approached by the 2 men, the 2 Gregs, who were blocking their way in broad daylight. This was a shock to Tonya's family. They didn't know what to do, and it all happened so fast. The 2 men had guns. Daryl was ready to protect his family, but it was all so confusing. Why were they targeted? It was all terrifying. Their family was about to change forever.
Oh, my God, I feel so...
One of these men asked Tonya her name. and she confirmed she was Tonya McArtor. "Game's up, Margot," said one of the men.
What?
These weren't two ordinary men. In fact, they were both detectives. Greg and Greg. They revealed their badges and told her that one of them was from Ohio Bureau of Investigation and the other from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
Huh?
It didn't take too long for the Columbus, Ohio Police Department to surround the family.
What?
Tonya knew this day was coming.
What is going on?
The jig was finally over. Her 32 years on the run had all come to an end and she was finally in custody.
What are you talking about?
You see, Tonya's name was not Tonya at all. That was just her fake name since escaping prison.
What?
Her real name was Margot Freshwater. She was a fugitive on America's Most Wanted list and got away for a very long time. In fact, she had started a family, had a few marriages, had kids and grandkids, and no one knew her real name.
Oh?
She was involved in a string of murders in the 60s and 70s. Her husband and family had no idea who their mother and wife really was. This, G, is actually the story of Margot Freshwater.
Oh, what the hell? I was like, what the fuck are you giving so
I
much
know.
background? This is going to be the longest story in the world. Sammy!
Daryl and Tim started screaming at the police that they had the wrong person. She was their mum, his wife, and grandmother, whose only record was one speeding ticket. However, Tonya remained frozen and silent, finally defeated. She handed over her grandson, AJ, to Tim, hugged him, and whispered, "I was always afraid this day would come."
No!
Now everything
Can't trust anyone!
Now everything so far about Margot, her upbringing, was all true,
Who is Margot? You cannot do this to me!
beside her name. But there were a few details I left out.
Right, so the background, everything we've just heard is still...
Correct.
Oh my God.
Her name was actually Margot Freshwater. And due to some inconsistencies, it is unclear what was Tonya's cover story and what was actually Margot's. She did have a brother named Tommy, who we'll talk about later, and her upbringing was all correct. And her family life seemed to all be accurate. What I'm unsure of are some inconsistencies on how she first had her first child. Oh, and the murders, but we'll get into that.
Oh my God.
One thing that wasn't mentioned is when Margot was in Worthington High School. In 1986, Margot dropped out of Worthington High School in her junior year when she became pregnant. Now, this is not Phil. This is another child that was before this. The father of her baby wanted nothing to do with it. This devastated her, but she decided she was not going to get an abortion. She saw the pregnancy through and the baby was eventually adopted. Then she met and started dating a man by the name of Alfred Shilreth. I don't know how to pronounce that properly, but I think that's how you pronounce it. His last name is very difficult to pronounce, but I've given it a go.
Well done.
She was 17 years old at the time in 1966. She was 7 months pregnant at the time she met Albert. Albert abandoned his own wife at the time and helped set Margot up with her own place. He wasn't a great guy. He was around her age, maybe 18 or 19 years old at the time, but was a big gambler. Margot's little brother Tommy said he was a thug and tried to talk her out of dating him, but she was one smitten kitten and wouldn't listen to her brother. In 1966, Alfred went to Memphis and was arrested for armed robbery.
Jesus Christ.
All Margaret wanted to do was go and see him. She got on a bus, a 15-hour trip to go and get him out. Tommy, her brother, didn't want her to do this. He thought it was a big mistake and to leave Alfred in the past. Tommy didn't like Alfred and thought that Margot was better off without him. But being in love, Margot decided to get on that bus. Tommy didn't think that she'd be gone long, but that was the last time Tommy would see his sister Margot for 32 years.
Oh my God.
When Margot arrived in Memphis, cue the song Walking in Memphis, she met with an attorney to help get Alfred out. Now, she didn't have any money, so lawyer Glenn Nash decided to help pro bono. I know you're not pro bono. You don't like U2. Something like that.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
that's good, that's good, that's good.
And even helped her with accommodation in a boarding home. Glenn Nash was 38 years old. He was a diagnosed schizophrenic with a big drinking problem. His wife said that his problems all stemmed from when his father died in 1961.
So people shouldn't leave their families or die.
I
That
know.
seems to just
don't die,
just
guys.
don't do it.
Don't die. That's a lesson for everybody. Don't die. He became a completely different person after his father died. He had his own legal issues after that.
Oh my God, I'm exhausted.
Now, Glenn, in January 1966, was arrested with 9 other men for stealing $100,000 of money orders. But he was found innocent. In June of that year, he was accused of robbing a few $10,000 bonds but was released.
Bloody hell.
His firm was in big trouble after this. An investigation was launched which nearly resulted in disbarment. Now, I don't really understand why you wouldn't be disbarred from all of this, being a lawyer, but I don't really understand the lawyer thing, and maybe the 60s were just a different time with how low the bar was to us. Keep up!
Very good.
In November 1966, Glenn was fined $50 for contempt of court for not turning up to represent his client.
$50.
$50.
So he's got off from stealing 100,000
Yeah,
and tens of thousands.
$50 for that.
Yeah.
Glenn and his wife Gisela met in Germany when he was in the army. They married in 1950 and moved to Tennessee where he obtained his law degree. Gisela would say that he always disappeared on weekends and she would never have any idea where he was.
Red flag, ladies.
Red flag, ladies.
And gentlemen.
And gentlemen, of course, as well. We can't just...
Never forget the gentleman.
Never forget the gentleman.
And I never will.
After his father passed away, he started spiraling out of control and became really paranoid. He thought members of the bar were conspiring against him, something that would continue for years to come and it'd be a big part of the crimes he committed. Margot didn't know any of this about the attorney that she was reaching out to. She was desperate to get Alfred out. Now, again, I don't know a lot about the law, but this was Glenn's plan as a lawyer to get Alfred out.
Oh, no.
Imagine, G, that you hire a lawyer and this is the exact plan. In fact, legal advice from a lawyer.
Oh, no.
He and Margot would smuggle guns into the courtroom and free Alfred.
God,
He's a lawyer.
fucking story, man.
That was Glenn's legal advice. But Margot was down for it. She would try anything. They spent the week in Memphis hatching this plan, but at some point they decided instead to ditch this plan and started having an affair instead.
Wait, what? How are they the options? What?
Now, at this point, she was
Yeah.
18 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Glenn was 38, married with kids, and one of the best damn lawyers money can buy.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't, Sammy. Oh, my God. I knew. Before any of this
Yeah,
happened,
he's
I
no
knew.
good.
I
This
felt
guy
stressed.
sucks.
I felt stressed and I knew something was coming. I don't like it.
I think the best damn lawyer money can buy is one of my favourite lines I've ever written. For a man that said, let's smuggle guns into the court. Glenn's wife...
It's giving Lionel Hutz.
Yeah, it really is, yeah. Glenn's wife, Gisela, eventually divorced him.
Good idea.
Yeah. Margot and Glenn decided against helping Alfred. They were both off on their own adventure. It was the mid-60s and they're off while Alfred is waiting for his loving girlfriend and new attorney, the best lawyer money can buy, to come and get him. Around this time, Margot wrote a letter to her mother which she said she was working as a secretary and would be home for Christmas.
You pronounce that word funny.
Margot didn't really seem to know that she was getting what she was getting herself in for this time. When Glenn was eventually convicted, his own attorney even described him as crazy as hell.
Convicted for what? Are you going to get there?
Well, he killed 3 people. I'm going to tell you this.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. I'm exhausted.
Imagine how I was writing this. Glenn and Margot started their interstate crime spree on December 6, 1966, when hanging out at Margot's boarding house. Glenn had run out of whiskey and they were going to go down and get some at the local liquor store. Glenn told the caretaker at the boarding house that he was taking her out bowling. Glenn walked into the liquor store, pulled out a gun and forced the attendant to empty the register and then led him into the back room while telling Margot to stay at the front counter. Once in the back room, Glenn started questioning the attendant named Hillman Robin Sr. about being an agent of the Memphis Bar Association who was spying on him.
Oh, no.
He's very unwell. So Glenn's fully paranoid at this point. A customer walked in and Margot didn't know what to do. So Margot just pretended she worked there and served her and checked her out. Can I just say this? Awesome.
That's good.
So good.
That's a good panic response.
Yeah. Wouldn't this be a great film? This is actually incredible.
Oh, my God.
When the customer left, Margot walked out the back and saw that Hillman was tied up and absolutely terrified.
Like she said, I've just made you a sale. Though.
Yeah, just made you a sale, by the way.
Don't be too
KPIs are up. Glenn told her to go start the car so they could make an escape. When Margot exited the store, she heard the gun fire.
Oh.
Just like that, Hillman was dead. They had taken $616 from the register, apparently the price of a human life.
Oh, God.
Witnesses saw Glenn and Margot fleeing the scene in a white Ford Fairlane. A customer walked in not long after that but could not find anyone to put his items through. He walked out the back and saw Hillman in a pool of blood with 5 bullet wounds in his head.
Oh, what a horrible
awful.
thing to... Oh, God.
Police got there and they found the bullets from 2 different guns. The victim, Hillman, was only in his 30s. He had a wife and 2 kids. He was the father of Hillman Robbins Jr., a one-time amateur golf champion.
Oh, wow.
December 18, 1966, just 12 days after the liquor store, the couple went to a Holiday Inn in Florida.
Nothing chilling at the Holiday Inn.
Hey, nice one.
You with me and my pizza and you bring 4 of your friends.
Glenn went to a mini-mart and again attacked the clerk, Esther, who was the night manager.
I regret singing.
She was shot in the neck.
Fucking hell.
A couple driving past the mini-mart heard Esther scream and actually saw her running when she was shot. Then they saw a man and a woman filling up a grocery cart and exiting in their white Ford Fairlane.
I just went for a little shop afterwards.
Yeah. Authorities were able to link Glenn to the crime from fingerprints found on the grocery cart. There were conflicting reports whether or not Margot was with him at the time. Authorities believed that Glenn was the one who pulled the trigger, and the witnesses saw the same car as the first liquor store robbery, but was Margot actually there? The car was abandoned not long after in Oakland, Florida. In the trunk, they found some rope believed used to tie up Hillman in the back room of the first murder, and some bullets were linked to the shooting. Police found that the owner of the car was Glenn Nash. On December 19, police stopped Glenn for questioning. Unfortunately, witnesses didn't recognize him as the man in the store, so police let him go. At 10:30 p.m. on Christmas Day in Mississippi, Glenn and Margot were driving when they ran out of gas out the front of the home of M.M. Jennings.
I don't want to hear this.
There's nothing happens here. They knocked on the door to use the phone. They walked to a motel, and the next day, when standing in the rain, they met a man by the name of Charles Richardson, who invited them into his home to get out of the rain and stay for the night. Charles went to work the next day, and for some reason, Margot and Glenn did not take anything from Charles's home. Charles called his maid at some point during the day, who told him that the couple had left and called a taxi. A driver by the name of C.C. Surratt, who was dispatched to the house. He radioed to say that he was picking up some passengers. Surratt then confirmed that he had a man and a woman in his car. He did not respond to radio calls after this time. The taxi driver was found shot in the car, barely alive. CC Surratt later died in hospital. It felt as though at this time, any time there was need for money that would exchange hands, that someone would lose their life. After they killed CC Surratt, Margot flagged down a bakery truck. The driver didn't have a radio and didn't know anything about the murderers on the loose. He later said he found them a little suspicious, but didn't spend too much time thinking about it. The driver did ask, though, because of her age, if Margot had run away from home, and she told him that she had.
Oh my God, she was still that young.
So young. The truck driver dropped them off at a bus station in Greenville, Mississippi. A person saw them at the bus stop who had heard about the taxi driver and called the police.
Oh.
A couple matching the description had been seen fleeing from a taxi. Police acted extremely quickly and met them at the bus stop before they could board and get away. While being cuffed, police later said the pair couldn't stop smiling at each other.
Oh, yuck, 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 yuck.
Margot and Glenn were taken to prison and both charged with murder. Lead investigator Lee Meredith gave Glenn some prison pants and sent his pants for testing. And at that point, Glenn confessed to everything.
Oh.
But Margot wasn't going down so easily. She gave police a fake name, Sue Ann Morrison, and didn't provide them with an address at all. She did ask if she could write a letter home. Glenn's ex-wife, Gisela, for some reason provided an attorney for Glenn. She felt bad for him because his mental health had been declining quite rapidly for a long time. She didn't believe he should go to prison. He was really unwell. She had once loved him and didn't want to see him go down like this. It was up for debate whether or not Glenn was fit to stand trial at this point. He had told many people that he believed all the people he killed were from the Bar Association trying to get him. But he also told another cellmate that he did it all for money.
Oh.
He was declared unfit for trial in 3 separate states where the murders took place. And instead of doing time, he spent 15 years in various institutions.
I mean, I know One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a movie and a book, but if you've seen that, like that doesn't sound like good.
No. I think he was very mentally unwell. He was released from a Florida institution in 1983 once medical professionals determined he was no longer a danger to himself or to others.
Shouldn't that be when he goes to prison then?
You'd think so, yeah. He moved to West Memphis, and as of 2011, the only date that I could find, he still lived there. But nothing is really known of him since his release. Margot, however, had 2 separate trials which both resulted in a hung verdict.
Oh, wow.
They didn't have enough on her, so she was acquitted. For the Surratt taxi driver and the second liquor store clerk, Esther, they didn't even have enough to even know that she was there in the first place. They did have her on the first liquor store murder, though, the murder of Hillman. The trial began in June 1968. Her defence was that she was forced to do it and that she was terrified of a much older, terrifying alcoholic and schizophrenic partner. She said that she never pulled the trigger and that she never had killed anyone before and didn't in this instance. She was an unwilling accomplice, vulnerable and terrified. The defence argued that she knew what she was doing. In fact, there were 2 guns used and could have escaped Glenn on multiple occasions. Witnesses came forward saying that there was a good 30-minute window where Margot was shopping at one time unaccompanied by Glenn, where she could have easily escaped. The prosecution characterised the pair as Bonnie and Clyde, where she was more than a willing participant in everything that went down. Margot said that at the time, Glenn threatened to kill her if she tried to escape.
God, it's hard to know what's
I know.
Yeah.
Especially when mental health is involved. This is such a difficult thing here. But Margot also admitted during this that she had consensual sex after the liquor store murder, which didn't help her case. She later said that she was coerced into this.
Into saying that.
Coerced into having sex, yeah. Margot's defense team argued that Glenn used 2 guns to take her down with him, even, if you ever got caught.
Oh, it was both of us, not just me.
Exactly.
Right, okay, yep.
It is up for debate whether or not this is the case. Was he even in the right mental state to have done this, or was he so manipulative and a genius mastermind? In late 1968, the jury of 12 men, 0 women, found her guilty of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to 99 years in prison.
Whoa.
One more vote and she would have been sentenced to death.
Oh, my God.
She appealed, but it was rejected. Margot was 22 years old at this point and started planning her escape.
Oh, my God, I'm exhausted.
She was sent to Tennessee prison for women. About 18 months into her sentence, in October 1970, a single unarmed guard was escorting several women back to their cells. Margot and another inmate, Faye Fairchild, which I think is the best name ever, saw the barbed wire fence in the distance and ran for it, and so did Margot. They did it.
What?
The guard had to make a decision in a split second. Leave the group and go after these 2 or call for help. He decided to go for the latter and called for backup. Now, Margot was a former track star, so you better believe she bested the guards. She had a head start and she was going for gold. Her and Faye scaled the 10-foot barbed wire fence. They hitchhiked to Baltimore on a passing truck, and after a few months together, Faye and Margot parted ways.
Oh, so they literally just climbed the fence and ran away?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Margot went back to Ohio on the train. Faye got caught in Chicago not long after using a fake name. Can you guess what the name was? Tonya.
Hang on, Faye.
Yeah. They both chose the name Tonya.
Are you serious? That's just coincidence?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I thought you were going to tell me another. Oh, my God, what? That's weird.
Well, either they decided both.
Oh,
they were together. They were together for a few months before. Yeah. There is not a lot known about Faye Fairchild, unfortunately. I would love to know everything about Faye Fairchild. If you know anything about her, please do write in.
Faye.
Yeah. Apart from having the best name of all goddamn time, but conflicting accounts say that she was actually free for about 10 years. So it's unknown whether she was caught right away or it was about 10 years down the track. But some reports did say Faye was free for ages, had a great life. Margot settled in Ohio, about 70 miles from where she grew up, in Columbus. It was all she knew, and she didn't have a lot of money. Now, you would think that, for someone like this, you would go to a completely different place. But she was like, no, this is all I know.
It's something a little bit funny about that. Like, maybe if they're looking for her, they would think, well, she's not going to go close to home, so we'll look anywhere else.
It's kind of clever. She was hiding in plain sight. She never committed another crime that we know of, and in 32 years became a mother, a wife, in fact several times, and a grandmother. She created a life for herself that was completely separate. She became Tonya Myers. Now, it was pretty easy back then to apply for a social security number without identification. She got a new license and even registered to vote, just walking in off the street. She didn't contact any friends or family who now all believed that she was dead, but she was about an hour away from them.
What?
She also avoided being fingerprinted for 32 years.
Well, I mean, I have so far avoided.
Yeah, I know, but I guess, she only knew of Ohio and didn't have any money to go any further than that. She did not alter her appearance at all.
What?
She avoided places that people might know her and avoided jobs that might require a background check. Exactly 9 months and 1 day after escaping from prison, she gave birth to her son, Phil. Now, we already know the story of how she said she was raped, and we cannot rule this out. There have been speculation that while in prison, she had sex with one of the guards who helped her plan her escape, but it really isn't known if that's the case. Like I said before, the lines between Margot and Tonya's story are a little bit blurry.
Yeah.
Siri, don't play blurred lines. But I think in this circumstance, she most likely was raped in prison by a guard, but we actually don't know.
I couldn't find circumstance most likely in your Apple Music library.
Okay, no. Don't worry about it.
Or ask for your music on
Google, don't worry about it. I hope that picked up. Now, I'll interchange the names Tonya and Margot here, but please let me know if it gets confusing.
Oh, yeah, all right. Well, we're like 45 minutes in.
They're the same person, but obviously when referring to her married life, it was
Tonya.
Joseph and Daryl who knew her as Tonya.
Yes.
The biological father of baby Phil has never been identified, and so it would be almost wrong to say that she was not raped in prison. We do know the truth here, and I want to make it. We do not know the truth here, and I want to make it clear that I tried looking into it. But if anyone knows the truth, please do write into us. This new person, Tonya, worked as a waitress at first to make ends meet, and then started working as a housekeeper. Housekeeping meant she got to take the kids along with her. Tonya got married to her first husband, Joseph Hudkins. Sadly, he passed away and by all accounts was a wonderful man. His obituary read, survived by his wife, Tonya. He never, ever knew the truth of who Tonya really was.
Thank God for him.
I know, yeah.
Oh, my God.
On May 5th, 1993, Margot was listed on the FBI's Most Wanted list. She was the only woman in the top 10 and remained there until she was captured.
Wow.
In 1994, America's Most Wanted ran an episode on her. When Faye was captured, she used the name Tonya. America's Most Wanted even stated that Margot was most likely using the name Tonya.
No.
How wild is that?
What?
Yeah. Agent Greg Costas, one of the Gregs, was assigned to the cold case. There hadn't been much new information, but the television show sparked some new interest. What happened to Margot Freshwater? The FBI managed to track Margot to Baltimore after she escaped prison, but couldn't track her any further. Agent Costas interviewed Alfred, her ex, and her brother Tommy, some family members, old friends, but nothing ever came from it. Greg Costas even tracked down the father of the baby who Margot initially gave up for adoption.
Oh, wow.
He monitored the family's mail and phone records. Twice, Greg Costas thought he might have found Margot. But a woman named Freshwater, who had married a man surnamed Margot, proved to be a dead end.
Oh, no, that's so frustrating.
As did a woman from Canada who had sent a cryptic freshwater letter to her half-brother, which is so weird, but apparently someone was really interested in the case and just sent a weird letter.
Oh.
At this time, Tonya was living with Daryl in an apartment just 12 miles from where she grew up. America's Most Wanted received a lot of tips, but nothing ever came of it.
How?
In March 2002, Unsolved Mysteries planned to do an episode on it. At that point, the lead investigator was another man by the name of Greg Elliott. Greg sent information to Unsolved Mysteries to kind of spark any information that might have been out there. With the new information on Faye using the name Tonya, Greg thought he'd do a little digging and search licenses in the database.
So now they're looking for Faye.
No, they're looking for Margot, but they're typing the name Tonya. Sorry. The information that Faye provided was that her name was that she went by the name Tonya.
Okay.
So in this instance, they're like, should we just type the name Tonya into the database,
just in case she's done
just in
the
case
same.
she went by that name?
I would think it would be anything but that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's what your accomplice went
Well, I
by.
guess you're going
not
to try
go by
the most
same.
basic ones first. He started by searching for the name Tonya with Margot's actual birth date. One pinged in the system. A woman by the name of Tonya McArtor.
Oh, Occam's razor.
Yeah, that's right. Greg was pretty confident it wasn't going to be her hiding in plain sight. But when they pulled the license photo, investigator Greg Elliott said it was like looking at a mother and daughter. Agent Greg Costas got her employer records and saw a gap 1966 to 1970. She listed Cleveland as her birthplace, but there was no record of her there. Greg also looked at her employment record and found that she put in a school that didn't even exist on her resume. On one of them, she used a home address that also didn't exist. They thought that even if this person wasn't the real Margot Freshwater, this person was hiding something. Yeah. They stalked they staked.
Whoa.
They staked outside her house for several days, but no one came out. The Gregs learnt that Margot and Daryl were actually on a road trip. One night, Greg Costas was driving home and decided to stop by the apartment where he saw Daryl's truck parked out the front. He called the house and a woman answered. He said it was the wrong number and hung up. But then he called the district attorney and begged for a search warrant. Greg Costas and Greg Elliott decided to follow Margot around. They followed her to a car wash, to a grocery store, and at one point, Greg Elliott even entered a store and chatted to her about fabric softener.
Oh my God, imagine how he would have been feeling.
She had no idea who it was, and they chatted for a short period of time, and she was very friendly. A search warrant was finally granted. The agents thought, when she was headed to the aquatic centre, that she might have actually been fleeing to the airport. If she had been on the run for 32 years, then maybe she was constantly looking over her shoulder and spotted them. They made a plan to intercept her. Tonya was holding her grandson AJ at the time. Costa said, "We have reason to believe you're not Tonya McArtor." Her son and daughter-in-law laughed. Daryl stepped in to find out what was going on. When they made the arrest, Tonya just wanted to say goodbye to her family. She'd given in. Once Margot was fingerprinted, it was confirmed that Tonya and Margot were the same person, and that she was sent right back to the prison she escaped from 32 years prior.
Oh my God.
The family now knew who Tonya really was. Daryl later told the LA Times it was like they walked out of a movie theatre and they were now in a movie. Tonya's family weren't mad at her. They loved her. They were mad at the police that they destroyed their perfect family life and believed to this day that she was a victim of Glenn Nash, not an accomplice. The store attendant's granddaughter, who was just 7 at the time he was killed, strongly disagrees. She said that her grandfather's murder was extremely hard on her father. It killed him. He had to go to the hospital and identify the body of his father. He was haunted by that image until the day that he died. When police asked Margot if she had been constantly looking over her shoulder for the last 32 years, she told them no, that Margot Freshwater didn't exist anymore. In fact, she had to die so that Tonya could live. She was a victim of abuse and control by a man named Glenn Nash. Margot convinced herself at that time that a life before never existed. She had to compartmentalize to move forward. She had a second chance at life. Now, there are a few close calls in this time. Margot's MetLife office, where she worked for a decade, was 5 miles away from her childhood home.
Oh my God.
Margot went on a vacation in Tennessee multiple times to Graceland and other places, despite her being actively listed as one of the state's most wanted fugitives.
Oh my God.
She saw her aunt at a flea market and they made eye contact, but her aunt couldn't seem to place her, and so Margot got away as quickly as possible. She also saw a high school friend who did not recognize her, and Margot got away again. Meanwhile, Margot's brother, Tommy, 1 year younger, lost hope in 1984, and her family had her declared legally dead, which actually worked in her favour.
Yeah.
Her siblings eventually got the call to say that she was alive.
Oh my God, how traumatic.
Tommy was ecstatic. His favourite person in the world was still alive, his protector and one true guardian.
Oh, Tommy.
He went to visit her in prison. They smiled and waved through the protective glass. 36 years since they had spoken. Tommy was so happy to see his sister again. He said when he saw her, all he could see was Margot's 18-year-old self, the same scared little girl that he last saw getting on a bus. They caught up on the last 36 years. He told her that he had a hard time shaking what had happened to her and the reputation of being related to a fugitive murderer. In this time, he got 2 master's degrees in social and behavioural sciences. Margot was unsure whether or not he would be angry at her and was really bracing herself for the meeting with Tommy. She couldn't really believe it was the exact opposite. He was just so happy to see her. Tommy told the newspaper The Nashville Scene, "I saw the little girl and then I saw the hurt and the pain. She lost a whole family, but I guess she gained a new one too." As punishment for Margot's escape, Margot had 1 year added to her 99-year sentence.
It's worth it. Well done. Yeah, good.
At the hearing, Margot didn't say a thing. She began a legal battle to try and get herself out. Her family were hoping for a retrial. Her attorney tried to argue that her identity had been stolen. Margot's family handed out flyers to the community to get her out, that she was unfairly convicted in the first place and a victim of Glenn Nash. Margot claimed that the authorities got a statement that there was an informant that proved that she was innocent. Glenn Nash had apparently confessed to this informant that he was the only shooter back in the day. In her retrial in 2006, she was unable to attend because of her heart condition. The jailhouse informant who Glenn had apparently confessed to had died at this point, and there were no records that Glenn Nash confessed to him and that he was the only shooter in all of the murders. Her defense team argued that the real killer was free, in fact, living a life away from everything, and given a second chance. The judge didn't buy it, though. Margot was granted a retrial but decided to go with a plea deal instead.
Oh, God.
Her attorney convinced her to take it. Now, we'll be very clear here. It was an actual attorney, not someone that said just put guns in the room.
Right.
The prosecution argued the plea deal was not fair, that she got to live in the real world for 32 years. The judge agreed, but said that most of the witnesses were now deceased. Glenn Nash was interviewed in the 80s.
Oh.
An interviewer asked him where he thought Margot would be. He said they didn't know, but she was probably married to a truck driver, had kids, and had the best damn life a mother could ever wish for.
Oh, my God.
Margot was sentenced to 25 years with time served and got credit for good behaviour. In 2011, 63-year-old Margot was released. Her and Daryl had only been married for 18 months when she was arrested. Daryl and her stayed married the entire time. Although she pled guilty, Margot has always maintained her innocence. Daryl was happy to bring his wife home.
Wow.
The woman he loved and once knew only as Tonya. In total, she spent 12 and a half years in prison. She had a lot of trouble adjusting to freedom, but she and Daryl have stayed away, perhaps changing her name yet again.
Maybe to Faye.
Yeah, maybe to Faye. In one interview for ABC, Daryl still refers to her as Tonya.
Yeah.
That's all he knew. There has been nothing on her since she was released in 2011, probably living in a country cabin with a horse and with her love, Daryl. It's hard to know if Margot was involved or she was under the complete control of Glenn Nash, killing 3 innocent people, Esther, Hillman and CC Surratt, in their spree. Margot spent the stolen money in the robberies, but was that all she played, within the killings? Did Glenn try to frame her, or did she in fact use her own gun? All we really know in all of this is she escaped prison and was in hiding for 32 years, creating a completely new life or lives where she stayed away from a life of crime forever and raised kids and grandkids. I'd like to end with a quote from the Los Angeles Times, which was published in 2002, so long before her release in 2011. Since her arrest, Margot has exchanged hundreds of letters with her husband, sons, and Casey Henry, who was her daughter-in-law, married to Tim. Daryl has hired a law firm and signed over his life insurance policy as a down payment. He hopes to win clemency for his wife, or at least a new trial. My wife is a gentle, loving person who got caught up in tragic circumstances, Daryl said. He calls the arrest blind justice from the past. As a young mother herself, Casey Henry says she can understand how a 38-year-old lawyer could really take advantage of a scared 18-year-old girl. She believes in Tonya's innocence. I'd suspect myself before I'd suspect her, she said. Phil Hudkins, 32, who was born during his mother's first year on the run, said she's no killer. Tennessee made a big mistake, he said. Timothy Hudkins said his mother doesn't belong in prison because she has already rehabilitated herself by living a clean life for 32 years and was a great mother and great grandmother. There is no way, given the person she is today, that she could be that person from back then, he said. And that, G, is the quite incredible story of Tonya McArtor, Tonya Hudkins, and in fact, Margot Freshwater.
Holy shit! Oh my God, Sammy!
Oh my God.
That was brilliant!
I tried to. I was trying to write it in a way that was like the two men with guns approach.
I know, and I was like, it's always bloody.
It's always these people.
Are the worst.
But yeah,
oh
I mean,
my God,
it is such an incredible story because you look at her life and I go, there are so many circumstances. Like usually one you go, sure, she was like, I mean, if you look at like Colleen Stan, she was with her captor.
The girl in the box.
The girl in the box, yeah. Who was like, you know, this person that was in this position that didn't want to be in this position and looked so many times to escape and was convinced to do things and was with, you know, because she was so terrified and then kind of conditioned to be that way. Was this the case? Because also, Glenn Nash was a very mentally unwell person. He was a diagnosed schizophrenic. He drank, you know, like, and, you know, also, if your attorney ever says, let's take guns into the courtroom, have a second opinion.
Oh, my God.
But also, like, so you go, what is the real story here?
Yeah.
I mean, someone who has lived a spotless life for 32 years, yes, if they were involved in these three murders from the start, absolutely, like, lock them up. But if she was not and she was under some sort of control and she lived this life for 32 years as a completely different person, I don't know. Was she an innocent person that was unjustly persecuted?
Look, I think personally it's fair to say she wasn't innocent because whether she was controlled or manipulated, she was still in those situations where three people were killed.
Yes, yep.
I think there's a big difference between innocent and not guilty.
Yes.
Oh God, it's really, really hard because whatever your defence is, if you're involved in a crime, there is there more often than not is or should be some form of punishment or retribution.
Yes.
So the point you made was, you know, she has been rehabilitated, obviously, or the point you read that was her son making it.
Yeah, Timothy said that. Yeah.
But rehabilitation isn't the only reason for imprisonment.
No.
You know, it's retribution and punishment and deterrent to the rest of the population as well. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
Because it may be that she was willingly involved and then, you know, over time has convinced herself she wasn't.
Yeah.
It could have been that, you know, she was manipulated and controlled, but again, she still was involved. Oh God, I don't know.
It's hard to know. And also, like, now she's, you know, the last I know is that she's still alive with Daryl and they have a good life. Apparently, Joe Hudkins was a wonderful man that never knew who his partner really was, never knew her real name.
Okay, the families of the three victims.
Yeah.
That's everything you're saying now makes that way worse.
Yeah, yeah.
She's had a
out there.
wonderful life.
Yeah.
Already for 32 years, she's
Yeah.
had a beautiful life. Then she only went to jail for 12 years and now she's out having a wonderful life again. That's unfair if she was
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
Well, she was involved, but if she was, quote unquote guilty, oh my God.
Yeah.
I think the fact that she lived such a spotless life obviously is a good thing. Is that because she was a fantastic person, or is it because she realised she got a second chance and so didn't want to risk it, or was grateful that she got a second chance? So, oh my
Was Margot
God.
Freshwater looking over her shoulder the entire time? Like, we don't actually know if she was guilty and escaped and went, oh my God, she's looking over her shoulder the entire time, or if she just went, well, I'll get a second life. Like,
Yeah, it feels like
wild
like,
not to change your birth date in your license. Like, that was apparently the only reason anyone ever found her.
And I do believe that she completely convinced herself
Yes.
that
Oh, you'd have
Margot
to,
was
I
a
think,
different
yeah.
person to Tonya, and Tonya was just a new person that existed. It's the only way you could survive.
Yep.
And I've just thought, so this would be a great movie, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yep. Who's playing Margot Freshwater?
Margot Robbie, and I think a great title is
Young.
I, Tonya.
That's good. Yeah. That's actually beautiful. Yeah, okay. I, Tonya. That's great.
Let's copyright that.
Yep.
I, Tonya with Margot Robbie. She might,
Yep.
maybe she should direct it as well.
Yeah, and let's change her
Copyright
name to
that.
Harding just for the film. So we don't have to pay anyone.
Okay.
Just for that.
Sammy,
Anyway,
that
that's
was-
our story for this week. If you know anything else about this story, please do write in. This is kind of all I could find, but please do write in if you
That's
know
all you
anything
can find.
else.
That was massive.
Sammy at justanothercompany.com.au. Please do leave us a voicemail. The website is called SpeakPipe, but all the links are below if you want to do that. Jay, before we go today, would you like to hear some goddamn gorgeous listener letters?
Yeah, yes. I need to somehow unwind or debrief. That was brilliant, Sammy.
Thank you for saying that.
Thank you. That was brilliant.
We know what? I tried to have some fun with it, and I was like, well, I'll try and tell this
I was like, what
in
the
a
fuck
different
are you
way.
telling me?
Yeah, well,
This
tell me the
whole
story.
Woman's story. I don't care. Get to the crime. Is
now-
this another Winnebago man? Get to the crime.
There's no crime. Now we have an update from someone called Gemma, who I've heard from before, who's recently got married.
Hi, Georgia Love and Sammy Peterson. It's Jem. I called in a while ago with absolutely no voice and the birds, and I sometimes think about that and just giggle to myself. I recently got married.
Oh, congratulations.
And I took lots of your suggestions, Georgia, after we got married and went on a honeymoon in your wonderful Tassie. And I now refer to Hobart as Hobart because far out that place. There's nothing like it in the world. I want to go back there next week. It's just, we spent a fuck ton of money. Sorry for swearing on
You can
honeymoon
swear.
because I just wanted to see everything, do everything, eat everything, drink everything. It was incredible. But I was actually calling because on a road trip to Launceston, which, by the way, sorry, but Lonnie is a little bit boring compared to Hobart. We were listening to we were catching up on your podcast because obviously lead up to the wedding, I missed a couple. Anyways, I wanted to call because I was like, oh my goodness, who have I fucking married? He's a person that would skip through the babble. Sorry, that's the best
Divorce
part.
time, Jam.
I still love him. And I just wanted to say you guys are the best. And thanks for keeping us company on our road trip. Thanks so much. Love you guys. Bye.
Oh, Jem.
Jem.
Congratulations on your wedding, and I'm so sorry about your imminent divorce.
I know,
because
it's
he wants
happening.
to also, babble is maybe mean to call it. We call it banter.
Babble. Yeah, we call it banter. But congratulations,
Oh my God,
Jem. That's amazing. Thank you for
congratulations,
listening.
Jem. I'm so glad you love Tassie as
I
well. It's the
know.
best.
And this one comes from Kath.
Hi, Sammy and Georgia. This is Kath. I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm absolutely obsessed with your podcast. I do a lot of driving for work, so I jump in, pop you guys on, and the Ks just disappear. So thank you for making my day when I'm driving. I also have joined Instagram, mainly to see what Mr. Diggs is up to because he's a fabulous, fabulous boy. But I wanted to answer two of the questions that you guys raised in the wood chipper murder episode.
Yeah.
I'm a Toowoomba local, so the nickname for Toowoomba is T-Bar. And I'm also aware that Deception Bay has a nickname, and it is called D-Bay. You're on point in relation to your assumptions of D-Bay. Anywho, that's their issue. But yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Absolutely love it. I look forward to Mondays and Thursdays. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Oh, Kath, thank you.
Love you, Kath.
How great to have a T-Bar local.
That's so
for
good,
you.
T-Bar. How good is that? I'm going to end with an internet letter today as well. This one comes from Lana. Hi, Sammy and Georgia. Absolutely love your show, and I'm an OG listener to Georgia since the start of her potty days with Everyone Has an Ex.
Thanks, Lana.
When you're ready, G would love to hear your story. I listened to your chat with Kate with tears in my eyes. I can't believe your friend named his cat Mango. No. I had a cat named Mango and everybody thought I was mad naming my cat Mango.
God.
Bloody love it. Writing to you about how eerie it was the day we listened to Robert Farquharson episode is the day Erin Patterson was sentenced to the same amount of time.
Oh, my God.
So it was actually the day that it came out, yeah. The pod I listened to and a news report mentions him and his crime and his sentence and how they are the same.
Oh.
Bloody love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. And because I knew you, I've been changed for good. Alana.
Lana. Oh, my God. November 21. There's not long to go. Sorry, that was a wicked reference for anyone who doesn't get it, but you should all get it. Oh, my God, Lana.
How good's that?
That's a weird,
That
speaking
is weird, isn't
world
it?
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Alana, thank you so much. And if you want to leave us a voicemail, we call it SpeakPipe. The link is in the show notes, as well as Sammy at justanothercompany.com.au. If you want to email us, if you want to follow us, G-Love, can they do that?
Not Another Crime Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. And we like to finish our episodes by sharing a pet peeve.
Yeah, just say leave a 5-star rating.
Oh.
Yep. Do that.
Leave a 5-star rating and a 5-star review.
Come
damn
on,
it.
damn it.
We like to finish our episodes with a pet peeve
Yep.
because it helps us get some of this tension off our chest. We call it a Paudry peeve because my pet's name is Paudry. Do you have one today for me, Sammy?
Yeah, I do. Terrible parkers. So I parked today at the vet to take Digsy Boy there at Clean Bill of Health. Thank you for asking.
my God.
And I parked in a spot that had a car that was over 3 different car spots.
What? How?
They parked diagonally, and it was just the weirdest thing ever. And it was just taking up and this person was like running in to take something to the vet and like running out. So it was very quick, but it was just really annoying because when I pulled in, I was like also over the edge of another driveway, and I was like, oh, this is really annoying. So yeah, parking peeves. Oh
my God.
God, G-Love, what's yours?
Okay, mine is the people that stand up the second the plane lands.
Oh, yeah.
The doors aren't open.
yeah.
We're all going the same place. You can't get off any earlier than anyone else. Sit down.
Sit the heck down. Come on.
Okay.
Hey, thank you to Tamsin Hayes for doing the artwork, and thank you to Oliver Clark for doing the music.
And thank you to Sammy Blake Peterson for that incredible story.
Hey, we'll see you next week.
Bye.